Well, this week has been kind of crazy. I'm coming off a birthday that was amazing, and I was planning on doing a commentary about this anyway, even though part of my brain is like, I should leave this alone because. As I've said before, I am not a drama channel. I am not a tea or gossip channel. It's just so much about this story has fascinated me. And I think I just have an older person slash a person who's dealt with mental health issues perspective on this story, and that's the only reason why I've been weighing in on this situation. But I do want to touch upon the fact that I've seen some really annoying stuff on YouTube lately. One of the things was seeing good channels get zapped. And like I said, I don't know backstories of what somebody did before. I just know what I like listening to, I like being a part of. And the fact that the peanut gallery got taken down by probably a bunch of insecure asshats makes me sad because YouTube is a big place. And I'm sure a lot of people have found like places that they can go to that they enjoy. Hearing peanut gallery and women that are like in my age range, she was younger than me, and I thought she was around the same age, but she's younger than me. But still, we are kind of around that same generation. It felt nice to hear her commentary on things. So I am kind of sad at this moment right now that she's not on YouTube right now, and I'm hoping that YouTube will somehow reverse this because we need to give certain people redemption, and we need to have them do redemption their way. And I'm going to get heavily into what I mean by that as I talk once again about some of this Creepshow art drama. And I'm really serious about this. I am not a clinical psychiatrist. I am just going by what I've seen in my life, some of the manipulation, some of the personality stuff that I've seen because I've grown up with people like this. I also want to make it clear that I am just giving my opinion on this. A lot of stuff is still alleged. There's a lot of good actual T channels with receipts. I will link some down below if you're tuning into this. This is just my take on the situation, and I just wanted to start by talking about how sad I was that the Peanut Gallery's channel got zapped. And I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be wading into territories with some very vindictive people. So you need to be careful what you're putting out there right now with this, because this person, to me, will go to extreme levels for whatever they believe in at the time. But the thing is, I wanted to, because I've been alluding to this on Twitter, just talk about the whole story now that we're getting more meat to this, including that interview that Creepshow Art slash Shannon did. They dug it up and replayed it, and just the hate she had for Emily Artful. I can't make sense of what she did in whole, because I've never had interest in anything that long in my entire life. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us can't wrap our heads around everything that we're finding out about this story. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at everything together, it starts to make sense in a twisted way. And I'm going to start from the beginning again for those who don't know the story and don't want to go back to the other two rants I had on it. It starts with Emily Artful. She was a young lady who was troubled. She was having issues in her life, some her fault, some not. And when I say some her fault, I think a lot of the stuff that wasn't her fault led to the things that she consciously did. So this is not victim blaming. She went through some things. She went through some very abusive things, and to self-medicate, she decided that she had to get high. And a lot of people do that. You really shouldn't judge addicts unless you know where they come from. And she admits that that side of herself, while she can't ever get away from it, it was a place of hurt. It was a place of escape. And everybody I know have been alive long enough has had ways to escape things that trouble and hurt us. So I understand that. And she is a very talented person. I enjoyed her channel, and I'm going to get to some of the twisted stuff that stopped me earlier from following her channel years ago, because it lines up to a lot of stuff this Creepshow art person did. And like I said, separate, none of this crap makes sense. But when you start interlocking all the little bits and pieces that Shannon dropped herself, your brain just like, I couldn't let go. And like, I did not want to lean into the whole commentary slash tea thing, because I've seen a lot of YouTube dramas and I don't care. It's like one of those things where if two people got into a fight, you just want a boulder to fall on them because you really don't like any side. This for me is the first time I've ever seen a drama that was so engaging because it was just so twisted that I just can't stop thinking about it. And the thing with Emily is, broken people attract the worst kind. When I was at my lowest, I attracted the worst kind of guy. That's snooty, pretentious. They might have some talent at stuff, but they're not as talented as they think they are. And they have this ego and they build this persona because they think they have to be a certain way. And if they had put as much energy into the thing they really wanted to do as they do in trying to craft a persona about themselves, they would probably get further. My ex was the kind of guy that tried to sell you in, he was in the business, he was in the medicine. If he had put as much energy as he did lying into actually being a decent person, he probably would have gotten farther in life. And that's how I feel Emily's ex, the catalyst as I like to call him, was. He liked pretending he was hardcore than he was. He celebrated violence because he thought that was edgy. He chose to conscientiously be homeless because to him, art comes from struggle. But he doesn't realize that a lot of people who get into art and music and stuff who have to be homeless, who have to go through struggle, they're doing that because they already had the talent and they're able to take the pain from that struggle and turn it into something beautiful. You can't fake that. You can't just wear a struggle as an accessory and say, I understand it, because it doesn't work that way. And if you can't create art without suffering, you're not a true artist. I'm sorry. That's just my view on that. As somebody who didn't get a choice and half the struggles I went through, it pisses me off when I see pretentious assholes like that do stuff like that think it's okay to wear struggle as an art form. So that was one of the problems I had with this situation with Emily, is because I see where she still sees him in a certain light, even though he put her through heck. He was abusive allegedly to her. He did a very horrible thing to her, which is going to come down the line because that's part of the whole catalyst thing. And the thing that bothers me about it is, like many of us who we want to still try to see good in people who hurt us, she keeps trying to see the good in him. And I hope one day she realizes that you got to let that go. I know you had a relationship. I know you believe in his art and music, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, yuck. But for me, when somebody is that horrible to you, when somebody is that pretentious, when somebody is so fake and phony and really isn't about half the stuff they say they're about, leave them alone. Walk away, close that door, hold on to those memories, good and bad, but leave them be. They do not need to be a part of your life anymore. They have showed you who they are, and they're not going to change unless something big happens to them. And even then, guys like him are not unique. They really think they know everything, and they've never even really lived. And the amount of pretension you heard from Emily Artful's video where this is his own words. Those interviews are what he really thinks about music and everything. And for me, all I heard was blah, blah, blah. I'm bigger than I think I am. And I should be worshipped and all that other phony, pretentious thing that so many guys like him try to put across. And it bothers me that there are parts of her that still feel empathy for him despite everything he's done to her. But I can understand it. When you're a broken person, even if you piece yourself back together, there's always going to be pieces of yourself that try to either mitigate conflict or appease a person hurting you because you think that somehow makes it better. And I'm hoping as she gets to my age and older, because I know she's a bit younger than me too, that she realizes that none of that crap matters. You don't need to make these people like you. They don't need to be your friends. They hurt you repeatedly. Cut them off. It is not worth propping up his music. Because every time you think about the so-called good things he did, you gotta think about the 10 years of torment that he and his wife or girlfriend or whatever she is to him, because I'm gonna unpack that whole story as well. They tormented you. It is okay to let them go. There is no need for you as the victim of their torment to keep putting up with the stuff that they've done to you. It doesn't make you the bigger person to keep trying to find the good in these two. So getting back to what I'm talking about, because if you hung on by this point, you want to get to the meat of the situation, and I'm glad. Emily dated this guy who was a pretentious jerk as far as I'm concerned, and it didn't work out. She started to clean herself up. She started to want more for her life, which everybody does when they get to a certain age and they want to grow and evolve. He couldn't let go. He started harassing her online. And how this gets twisted is there's another person that comes into the mix. She was a younger woman. She was kind of insecure. She comes from a stricter family. She fell in love with Anthony. Despite him being an egotist, a manipulator, an abuser, she herself was also manipulative. And when two manipulative people get together, it's a mess. And the problem that lies with this is a lot of people are trying to figure out if this Shannon / Creepshow art girl was manipulative or was she manipulated. And it could be both. When you get with an abusive person and you have a manipulative personality, and I say this from experience, it's a cocktail of fuckery, y'all. And that is what those two made. A full ass nasty cocktail of fuckery. Because she wanted to please him. Because she was in love with him. Whatever twisted version of love there is. And he was obsessed with his ex, Emily. Creepshow seen Emily as not only a rival, but as somebody beneath her, somebody lower than her. She's done things that I would never do. She has exposed herself to drugs. How dare he love somebody like her and obsess over somebody like her when she has me? And she wanted to please this Anthony guy so much because I guess he has magic penis or something. I don't know. There's got to be something about this guy that can... But I don't know. If you've ever watched any kind of daytime TV, you constantly see women fighting over these men that are like, what? Why? So I've given up trying to figure that out. I just don't understand my species at all with certain things. But the catalyst for this was a song track that this Anthony guy did. And Emily, in her 2-hour video, which I recommend if you like what I'm talking about and you want to get to the heart of this, Emily Artful laid it all on the line in a 2-hour video detailing all the stuff that happened. But what she started out was they got together and recorded a track together And originally, the girlfriend slash wife, whatever she is, Shannon, was the original singer on this track for him. But he played it for Emily because he was still obsessed with Emily. And she made a snarky, snotty comment about how the girl singing on the track sounded weak. You should replace her with me. And because of that, Anthony thinking, oh, this is my way in, let me do that. And he really did think Emily had the better voice. He was obsessed with her. So he lets Emily sing on the track. And if I'm anything, when I get jealous, I get irrational. The only difference is I know how to calm it down. I'll eat that Snickers to calm down. Shannon saw red. Shannon decided that this was a step too far. How dare you replace me on this track? How dare you try to step into my role? I'm with him now. He is mine. And because of that mindset, that's when the wheels started turning. She seen how Anthony was also making bot and sock accounts and harassing Emily, and she wanted in on this. And how do I know how they were thinking? I dated somebody like that. He literally made bot and sock accounts in and out of games we played together because we were both gamers. He pretended to be a fucking kid, and that is where I draw the line. Adult men should not be making accounts pretending to be little kids. It's fucking weird, and if you're in a relationship with somebody like that, it's a big red flag, and you should get away from them. But I, like an idiot, stayed with mine for far too long, and it got worse. Because if your guy can craft that kind of fake fuckery, they're doing a lot worse. So you need to run when you see that kind of red flag. If he is stalking somebody and making sock accounts, that's not a sign of stability. If he's pretending to be a child, which is one of the things these idiots did, which bothers me to my core, because you shouldn't pretend to be a minor to exploit things. That's creepy and weird. And like I said in my last rant on this, she gave a lot of seeds, but it was in her name, Creepshow. But the fact that they pretended to be minors is such an odious thing, because when my ex did that, I lost so much respect for him, because it's weird. You shouldn't do that. Why would you do that? What kind of personality do you have that you need to fake that persona? I play RPGs, y'all. I love role play games. I play Pokemon sometimes too, even though it kind of bothers me. I don't like playing as a 10-year-old because that logically doesn't make sense, but I don't want to go off on too many tangents. The thing of the matter is, when you pretend to be like that to catfish, to fool people, that is a level that no one should cross. It is one thing to do that in a video game where you're only acting with NPCs and you know that it's just a character that you're playing in a video game. It is different when you take that, you make a name, and you try to convince people that you're something you're not. And a lot of people do that online, and you need to be wary of them. I don't mean having like a username that's like a handle. Like, I go by Kalari, but most people know me as Tim. I don't hide myself. I don't try to be anonymous. I just like the name Kalari or Nixie. Those are my two main characters in a lot of games. It's a name that I go by. But most people know who I am because I don't hide myself. I don't build that foundation on lies and fuckery. And sadly, this Creepshow girl and her boyfriend Anthony / Emily's ex did that. And the major catalyst to the story wasn't even that music track, because that just set Shannon on the warpath for Emily. Because she already has that quality that this is mine, and I don't like the fact that he even went with somebody like you. But the fact that you replace me, oh, I'm going to one-up you. So Emily, getting her life together, started her own art channel, and I love art, and I saw her a couple of times because I liked her Day of the Dead style drawing. She did a lot of gothy, dark skeleton stuff that I really enjoyed, but I wasn't really heavy on YouTube back when she started her channel. I would watch it every once in a while, but I wasn't a YouTuber. It wasn't until the pandemic that I really started watching a lot more YouTube, because TV kind of sucks for me right now. It's a lot better now with Disney Plus, but it kind of sucked for a while. And I couldn't figure out which channel was which, because I seen some of the Creepshow art stuff, and at first I liked it because she talked a lot of the commentary about predators and stuff like that, but she veered into a lot of preachy territory that I think she should have just stayed away from, because it was misinformed and it really made me go, "Ooh, girl, no. No, you need to stop. That ain't it." So I never followed either one of them because I wasn't sure which was which. That's how close they were in style and stuff for a while. And that was on purpose, because Shannon got the idea of, okay, you want to try to replace me, I'm going to beat you at your game. And had she left it at that, had she left it at, okay, I'm going to copy your channel, I'm going to be better than you, because she got more subscribers to her channel, she had more people propping her up as legitimate, she could have left with that sense of, I was better than this girl, I did my thing and I did it better than you, and had that victory. But she couldn't, because she has that NPD vibe. I'm not going to say she has NPD, because I don't want anybody accusing me of diagnosing her with something she don't have, but she gives a strong narcissistic vibe. She had to destroy Emily, and I think it became even worse after Anthony, or Andrew, or whatever his name is, the catalytic boyfriend, assaulted Emily. And this is alleged, but I have good reason to believe Mr. I'm going to make a whole bunch of bot and sock accounts to harass you would be capable of this, because he couldn't let his obsession with Emily go. And for that, that was it. Shannon not only had to destroy Emily at everything she ever did, she had to get her where she worked, she had to get her where she lived. She was enjoying the torment, because in her mind, he shouldn't have ever wanted Emily in the first place. I know how that she thinks, because, like I said, I'm diagnosed with my own mental health issues. So while I like to believe I would never sink to these depths, I could kind of see where the wheels started turning and how this is playing out. And I see why a lot of people get confused on why anybody would spend 10 years crafting such a, it's like a Lifetime movie plot if you think about it. I can understand the jealousy. Everybody gets jealous. I can understand the rivalry. Okay, you want to replace me here? I'm going to be a better art commentator. But she took it to a level of nasty that just doesn't make any sense. And to try to do that whole switcheroo, I'm going to be your life type thing is just so weird. But she was such a narcissist that she thought she could get away with it. And her downfall is just so tragically funny and stupid that I just couldn't believe that that was how they got him. But because she has that NPD vibe, I'm not surprised. Because the thing NPDs like to do is build themselves up and surround themselves with people who love them and praise them and have their back. But then they talk shit about those people because they're insecure little asses. And Shannon gives off that vibe that she never found her own self-worth, even though she's clearly talented. I used to see some of her art commentary, and I used to turn her voice down because I didn't really want to hear the crap she was talking about. I just liked the artwork. She is a talented artist, and that's the tragedy of all of this. She has the talent. And if she did better research and knew how to stay in her lane, she could have done the commentary. But she built the foundation on fuckery and fakery that wasn't going to sustain itself. You can't take somebody else's life and make it your own. You can't obsess over somebody to the point that she did, twist yourself to be a carbon copy of that person, all while stalking her, harassing her, building an army of loyal people who liked you. You have 500,000 people who wanted to hear what you had to say, wanted to watch your artwork, and you threw it all away to talk shit about people. I will never understand that NPD personality, but I've lived with one. So I see the signs. The insecurity is the biggest thing of that. My mom suffers from MPD. And one of the things that bothered me about her is she is such a smart person. She was a gymnast. She has so much going for her, but she was always so insecure and so hateful and spiteful and full of malice because she doesn't believe in herself. So obviously the world's just shit and she has to shit on everybody around her. But she also has, it's twisted because she also has a high opinion of herself on some things. So it's like this weird, odd two-faced thing. Like you feel like you're the shit, but you know you ain't shit. So it's like a weird back and forth. And I see a lot of that in this Creepshow art girl, especially towards Emily. She knows she's better than Emily in some things. She would never do some of the things that Emily did. She's above her in that sense, but she has little to no self-worth. And that is why she could be easily talked into creating bot accounts with this musician guy as well and harass this person. How dare she say my man did that? How dare she say? But then you get these other bits and pieces to this story that makes you even question if this Catalyst boyfriend was even as deeply involved with Creepshow as she's making it out to be. Because we don't even know if they're really married. We don't even know if they're really together. Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no, some people are saying they share the phone. Some people are laying out breadcrumbs to this story that makes it seem like this was all in Shanna's head and she might have been infatuated with both of them. There is just so much to unpack with this story. So I'm telling you, if you're listening to my commentary on this and you're fascinated by it, go to Emily Artful. Go to some of the commentator art channels like Omnia and Kai Weiss too. They have more in-depth and actual sound drops for this because it is highly fascinating, this story. It just doesn't make sense to anybody who doesn't have obsessive or narcissistic or any kind of disorders, how somebody can fixate for a decade on somebody and just seek to destroy them. And it's like I said, we've all had moments where we've been jealous of somebody or we felt like somebody was our rival. But it takes a special kind of twisted to turn it to this level and to throw it all away. This Creepshow art girl had over 500,000 subscribers. She has a successful channel and she had talent. But she couldn't let go of that hatred and malice that she built up on top of her own insecurities. And that's what I think really made her go after Emily Artful as hard as she did. And she just couldn't see a way out. And I don't know if that was just aspects of her own personality or the egging on of this Catalyst boyfriend. If they were really dating, and as more stuff comes out, you don't know what's real or what's not because it was all built on a foundation of lies. And I'm gonna weigh in every once in a while on my thoughts on this because it's just such a fascinating story. And I'm gonna have these under the category of commentary. So whenever you see things like this where it's my Nixie picture or my little Gaia Earth avatar picture, you know Tin is talking about something YouTube related. And it's not going to be every YouTube drama because I don't care about that. I don't care about the beauty community. I don't care about the wannabe boxer community. This fascinated me because I love art. I love designing stuff. I love drawing stuff. That is my wheelhouse. And I did not know how toxic some people in the community can be. And you see some things. And while I don't want to weigh in on people who are just struggling, that's not my lane. That's nothing I want to touch. This thing hit me so hard because it's so twisted. And it's still ongoing. People are speculating on whether or not she's going to try to come back, who's going to get thrown under the bus, because she would be walking away from a very lucrative channel still. Even though she's lost over 100,000 subs since it's all dropped, she still has a manipulative personality. She still has ways she could try to come back and try to mold something out of this again. And that's the scary part. I think she needs help. I think she needs to go seek professional help to figure out why she had to do all this. And then if she ever did want to get back into art, she does need to embrace her talent. But I think she needs to stay away from YouTube. That's my own personal take on this as an older woman who has struggled with my own mental health issues, who thankfully didn't have an outlet like this when I was at my worst. Because I feel like this will have a negative influence on this Creepshow girl. I think for real, I'm trying to really be empathetic to her at this point because I know a lot of people are going to dogpile and shit on her, rightfully so. She hurt them with her lies. But I'm trying to humanize this. She really is a damaged individual, and the last thing she needs is an echo chamber or fans who will make her feel like everything she did will be all right. She has to atone for this. She has to make right with herself because if I was Emily, I wouldn't want anything to do with her. She could keep her fucking apologies or anything. If that was me and the level that they harassed and stalked and did to her, getting her fired, making her feel unsafe, there's nothing you can say to me. Just leave me the heck alone. But I think she's not going to find redemption coming back to YouTube. All she'll find is people who will condone that side of herself that she really needs to work on. So I hope she takes some time, gets some real help, and gets a few years of perspective in her, and then works on that art. Because Shannon, if on the off chance you hear this, because NPDs like to check out anybody talking about them, woman to woman, I really hope you get help. I really hope you know that you need help at this point because what you did was not okay. What you did was a level of focus that if you had given that to your actual work and research, you would have had 1 million subscribers. So I am saying this to you as an older lady who made a lot of mistakes, who knows that there's no such thing as a perfect being. Get help. I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all. I don't like these commentaries being a bit too long, because I know everybody has a short attention span. But this story was just so fascinating, and now that I know that Peanut Gallery's gone, it just bothers me because I feel like she had the same perspective of me as older women who have been through it. And we are seeing this through that lens. We're not seeing it through the being a part of the actual community. We're just outsiders who are like, what the heck? So yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on that. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.